What's up, everybody? Was just finishing up my day, just finished a workout. It is close to midnight right now, and I just wanted to share my thoughts transparently because I feel like what I'm going through and what I'm thinking can change a lot of lives. And so, what I've been dealing with over the last year and a half, 2 years, and just going into the toughest challenge that I've ever been through and having to pull myself out of just the mental torture of it all and just kind of like getting trapped in my head, getting trapped, feeling sorry for myself, falling into depression, letting bad habits, vices take over me and compound me in the wrong direction, having people actively trying to spread misinformation about me, hurt me psychologically, attack me mentally, harass me, and just all the opposition and negativity that I've dealt with and have been dealing with. And I finally reached sort of a state where kind of, just getting back to my roots with everything and just going back to personal development, I've kind of like snapped out of it and have come back to the realizations that like it's all a decision, it's all a choice. Everything that you're experiencing in your life, everything you're going through, and what you're living your reality of what's happening in the 6 inches here, right? The 6 inches from here to here, right? What's happening inside of your brain, inside of your consciousness? This is dictating your life and it's dictating your reality. And if you're living in a place where you're just fucked up in the head and you're just dealing with a lot of shit and you're succumbing to the temptations and the vices and things that are going to compound you in the wrong direction and feeling sorry for yourself and being depressed and struggling to get out of bed and whatever the hell it is that is taking you backwards, you are not living in harmony with your conscious. You're not congruent with your consciousness. And your conscious is essentially the voice of the universe, the voice of God, or whatever it is that you believe in. It's talking directly to you, and how you harness that energy and how you harness your inner voice and your conscience is how you tap into flow state and you reach this sense of enlightenment and peace and love. And this is something that I got so far away from. This is all the things that, I used to practice on a daily basis. And I just got so far away from that because I became so overwhelmed with the stress and the pressures of what I was dealing with and the business that I was trying to grow. And it was like I was just pushing, this boulder up this hill, and it just wasn't going to go, and it just wasn't what I needed to be doing, and it wasn't serving me. And I got thrown into this sort of mental funk and going through the failure of literally, I've had tons of ups and downs over the last 12 years of entrepreneurship, but this one was the most extreme because I built up this large organization. Me and my partners, I mean, we had a huge executive team of like 10 executives and hundreds of employees. We've got maybe 50, 60 onshore US based employees. We have hundreds of VAs overseas, and um, this giant machine and this big thing with this massive bloat. And all of this pressure and just of trying to win and trying to build this beast, and ultimately what has turned out to essentially be like a flawed business model, a really challenging business model. And a lot of the other companies in the space that were participating in the same types of business models, they've all experienced the same fate, because as you grow, um, it actually gets worse, and it leads to this margin compression. And then you run on very, very razor thin type margins, and you have this huge, massive bloat and this huge, massive overhead with all these employees until it finally collapses, implodes, and goes under. And that's what has happened to literally every company that has pursued this business model or these business models over the last couple of years. And if they've been doing it for a couple of years, it's typically their fate. And so, like, the mental anguish of the pressure of that and losing at such a high level, um, and like the pressure of everything sort of sitting on your shoulders, and then having to let go and lay off hundreds of employees, having to let all of the clients down and fail publicly in a big public way, in a very, I guess, embarrassing way. And I got away from that mentality of not caring what other people think. I got all in my head, and you know um was living more in my ego, and ego is always the enemy. And ego's that voice in your head of what are people going to say about me, what are people going to think about me. It's really where you listen to other people's opinions. Like, ego in primal humanity was created and designed to protect you as a survival mechanism. And really what it's become today is a inhibitor and a detractor from what's going to give you the most progress and what's going to move you forward at the fastest pace. Because if you're listening and living in your ego and you're not allowing yourself to take the proper steps or actions, or you're caring what other people are thinking, or all these things, it's going to slowly drain your mental and physical energy to where your cup is basically decreasing. And when you have an empty cup, you can no longer pour from an empty cup. And especially when everyone's trying to put their cups around and drink from your cup and the overflow and the excess and the abundance, and when you have nothing left to pour from your cup, um you're draining and you're depleting your mental energy, and you're running this exhaustion or burnout. And it's simply all because you're not tapping into your higher power. You're not tapping into flow state. You're not tapping into true abundance, true peace, true love, true enlightenment. You're not living at peace with who you are and what you're doing and where you're going. And you need to reset yourself. And sometimes it takes a triggering event or a series of events, or whatever it is, or a mentor or a coach or someone to cut through and cut through for you, and strike that that feeling, and hit that, pull on that heartstring to wake you the fuck up. Because for me, I fell into this spiral of again, losing the businesses, losing more than $1 million, losing my credibility, reputation, which are ego-based things, losing, letting people down, and fighting lawsuits, and people actively trying to get in my head and to inflict mental sort of damage against me. And all of these factors and all of these things caused me to spiral and to feel horrible about my life and myself and where I was, and question everything and everything I've ever done and every decision I've ever made, and what led me to trying to do this thing that's never been done before. And what's crazy to me was the whole thing that I was trying to do was rooted all in helping other people. And I thought that it was a good pathway, but I've come to learn, many of the flaws of, again, that business model, which I'll talk about more in other videos, because I want people to learn from my experiences and learn from my failures so that they don't have to repeat these things. And they can actually avoid these things, and surpassed me in a much faster way. But all of these things caused me to spiral, hate my life, to the point where straight up, I just, wanted to die. Like legitimately, it was the first time in my life where I didn't want to be alive, like genuinely. And people always say, "Oh, I want to kill myself. I hate my life. My life sucks." But it's not that bad. This was like clinical, like suicidal, danger level. Like I was very close to essentially like just doing it and just ending my life. And thankfully I was able to ultimately reason with myself that you know the that it would be the coward's way out. I don't want to, it's a bitch move, right? At the end of the day, to exit stage left and just tap out and kill yourself. And like it's the biggest slap in the face to the universe with the gift that we've been given, which is life, to be here. Because 1 in 400 trillion is the odds of being alive. So it's like winning the Powerball, like how many times over, and to just kill yourself and end the experience because of some temporary pain you're experiencing. It's selfish, and it's selfish to do that to the people that love and care about you and your family and the people around you, where that would majorly affect them. And it's the coward's way out. And ultimately I reason that logically at some point my life, if it's snowballing down and it's just continually getting worse, okay, there has to be a point where I reach the valley, right? I reach that bottom point, the rock bottom, um, which I've hit several times in my life before in different ways, but this was a new way to me, where this was an ongoing failure. The other things that I've experienced previously in my life, going back more than a decade, like getting expelled from high school for weed, or getting expelled from college again for pretty much the same thing. Um, Selling weed, stupid shit, which is obviously all now legal. But I got, experienced those things, and those were like, it was an event, and then like the pain happened, like the thing happened, and then after that I could immediately start recovery and reflection and the learning process and the self sort of healing process of going through a traumatic event and losing in your life and reaching one of those events that is essentially, a rock bottom type event. And with this event, not only was I miserable, leading up to the failure. Probably, I mean, it was 4 years that I was trying to build this business, and encountered a lot of bad business partners, a lot of challenges, a lot of things. I was just really miserable running the whole thing almost the whole time. And I didn't ever want to give up on our customers that we basically, you know, um, said, "Hey, this is what we're going to do." So like, I'm not going to give up. Like, I'm going to go all the way. I'm going to give it every ounce of everything that I have. I'm going to put everything I fucking have into winning and doing this, because that's what I said I was going to do. So I do what the fuck I say I'm going to do. I'm not going to check out and just be like, sorry, it's not working. I'm just going to go fuck off and live my great life over here. Which coincidentally, if I had chosen that, because sometimes you need to know when to pull the plug and make a decision, I viewed it as, I can't stop this thing that I started because I already made the commitment, even though it would have been a better decision to remove myself from it, because I wasn't happy ever running this business. And it was very soul draining, and we were serving a lot of the wrong customers, a lot of the wrong clientele, and a lot of, um, it just wasn't the thing. Like, it was more of a give someone a fish versus teach them how to fish. And I will never, ever partake in any sort of fish giving activity ever again. And if you're completely confused on what the fuck I'm talking about, It's the saying of you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. You teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. So like, hey, I'm gonna do everything for you, and you be fucking lazy. I'm gonna handicap you essentially because I believe that by me doing this and by me doing everything, I'm gonna help you win because you can't win on your own. Or, maybe you've done a little bit of winning, but this is gonna be a convenient way for me to help you. And like all the mentors go around and say, if you help enough of everybody else get what they want, you're gonna get what you want in return naturally and by way of the universe. And so that's what ultimately sold me on the business model to begin with was like, cool, win-win type deal. We go out and build the business because they don't know how. We do everything for them and we all win. Wrong, 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 wrong. You are absolutely handicapping anyone by doing anything for them. Never do anything for anybody. You can't carry someone else across the finish line. You're only ever going to just number one, it isn't going to work the way you probably think it's going to work. And number two, it's just not serving them in the best way because they're not gaining more skills and they're getting lazier and they're getting more ungrateful. And they're becoming more fear-based and lack and scarcity and just putting all of their reliance of their survival, their life, their quality of life, their abundance or lack of abundance all on somebody else's shoulder. And so they're deflecting and taking away all accountability. So they're not learning any skills. They're deflecting and saying, I'm not accountable to this. I have no self accountability because the only true form of accountability is self accountability. It's the only fucking true form of accountability is self accountability. So check yourself in the motherfucking mirror. That's the only way. And so when you teach someone to fish, when you coach them, when you train them, when you show them the way, a coach is someone who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. Okay, that's how you really truly help people is through education, is through teaching, it's through passing of the baton. It is the mentor, right? And the mentee. And the mentee should supersede the mentor because the mentor has made the motherfucking mistakes. Hence me. I'm the mentor because I've lived the bullshit and I've made the mistakes. I've had the wrong coaches, taken the wrong advice, taking the wrong paths, and I'm too fucking stubborn and to call it quits when I just double down and I don't fucking quit. I'm not going to let anybody down. I'm not going to let anybody lose mentality. Right. And so with that, circling back on it all, okay. Again, this all just avalanched into a massive dumpster fire and my just immense level of pain and suffering to where like I was just being a little bitch basically. And that's really the realization that has clicked for me again and it's pulled me out because the other situations in my life and every time I went through some shit and I failed and I lost everything and I went through rock bottom, I said, fucking good. Make it harder. Let's make the story. I'm going to come back from this. I'm going to drastically change my life. I'm going to draw a physical motherfucking line in the goddamn sand. And it's non-negotiables. I'm going to fucking follow these habits. I'm going to become this person. I'm going to do the things and the activities and the actions that are going to equal what I want my life to equal. And I'm going to become the man I always needed in my life. Or for you watching, if you're a woman, become the woman that you've always needed in your life. Like be that motherfucking like top vision of how you could ever see yourself. And break down what exactly that person does. The person that if you're living in your greatest version of yourself, what are the habits that person has? What are the activities that person does? how, what does their schedule look like? Are they making excuses, giving into temptation, living in vices, fighting their conscience, doing things that they know are bad for them, being lazy? Are they doing all these things, or are they doing all the good things and the things that are right and what they're supposed to be doing? And so I went into this complete spiral of losing touch and losing that voice and just pitying myself and feeling sorry for the situation that I'm in. And, you know, um, just like it's a difficult feeling to describe because, I'm sure many people watching this can relate, but it's just like where you wake up and it's like, man, I like your dreams, right? You have dreams and nightmares, etc. But it's like, holy fuck, when I wake up, like I'm waking up into my nightmare. This is worse than anything I could dream about as being bad. Like I'm waking up into hell. And if you're going through hell, there's only one path to take. You just got to keep walking. You got to keep going until you exit. And so to bring this full circle and not drag this on for a long, long time and sort of get the key point across in this video, just as thoughts that I'm just ripping off the fly. Um, I went through this period of depression, self-sabotage, I guess you could say. Even though I was still working and I was still trying to do what I was doing, but I was overeating, I was over drinking, I was just not taking good care of myself. I, was experiencing severe anxiety, depression, couldn't sleep, all the things. And, I just as time wore on, and I just started to slowly reflect and heal and pull myself out of these things, I just reminded myself that it's fucking all in my head, and it's a conscious decision to be happy. Like it truly is. Like you can literally just say I'm not depressed, and like if you truly believe in your mind that, hey, I'm grateful, like if you're grounded in gratitude, and like no matter how bad things get, you're grounded in gratitude and you're truly grateful, then it's never going to matter what you're going through. Because to learn to be happy, like you can't tie happiness to a thing, of like a future thing, like once I get this or once I have this, I will then be happy, because you're always now tying your happiness to something that you don't have now. So you're living in lack constantly, and you're training your brain and you're training your mind to forever be in lack and to never be happy. And when you get those things, then it's always just the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and you're never truly happy. So you can find happiness in even the worst of times, the best of times, any times. No matter what you're going through, you can find peace. You can ground yourself in love. You can become enlightened when you tap into your spiritual power, and you harness that energy of the universe, and you harness yourself in gratitude, in love, in peace, and you put out good energy and good thoughts, and you just don't allow, like you have this bubble around you, and you don't allow low energy shit to get inside of it, low vibrational stuff. Like you vibrate on a much higher level, on a much higher scale, and you can truly control your destiny and your path and your future and where you go in life. And that's exactly how I've been able to take previous situations and previous circumstances of me reaching these rock bottom type places, flipping my life around, doing a complete 180, and achieving massive success in a couple of years. And so this is all just a case study for you guys to see, okay, I lost everything. I made it, I lost it again, made it again, lost it again. Here I am. I'm at, I lost everything again. And in the biggest way and in the most painful way. And it's an enduring way. Like this is an ongoing thing. And it's going to continue to go on and drag on for, years, because a lot of people will just, they want to live in the past. They want to continue to dig the past and, just fight and fight and fight and fight. And it's truly exhausting, number one. But number two, that's just, the way some people look at things. Like some people truly focus their intent on the past. I don't look in the past. I don't care about the past. The past is done. The past is gone. Losers live in the fucking past. Losers look in the past. Who gives a shit about the past? Give a shit about your future, about where you're going. Why? Because the past already happened. You can't change it. You can play the torturous game of hindsight 2020 all day long. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, all fucking day long. And I've been down that rabbit hole in a torturous way over and over and over and over and over and over again, pounded in my head, learning all the lessons that I've needed to learn. That's what you gain from the past. That's what you gain from going backwards. You're never truly going backwards if you're learning, because then you're growing and you're becoming more powerful. You're becoming unstoppable, unshakable, unbreakable. Imagine if you harness the power of yourself, of your mind, and you fucking knew that what you set out to do, if you stick to the plan and you stay committed and you do what you said you're going to do, there's no reason why you're not going to get the results. And so what I've committed myself to is to living healthier, being healthier, drinking lots of water, cutting vices, exercising daily, um, eating healthy, personal development daily, and becoming a better human being and growing myself internally, because the place that I want to go, it starts here. Everything starts with you. That's what's going to determine your destination, is essentially what's going on in here and who you are and who you become and who you need to become. You want this crazy lifestyle, you want all the stuff, you want all the things, you want the trips and the cars and the houses, whatever it is that you want or you're after. You're only going to get it by becoming the person who deserves it and works for it, because if you don't do the work, you don't deserve it. Okay. And you know that you're not worth it. You could be given those things, but you'd feel weird if you didn't earn it, if you didn't work for it, if you didn't deserve it. So you got to go out and you got to change your life, and you can recover from anything. If I can recover from this, you can recover what's going on in your life. And so that's the moral of the story. I don't want to talk here all night. It's already way past midnight, but I just felt called to send this message. I know if this can even help one person, I don't give a fuck if 10 people watch this, 15 people watch this. It's helping me. It's my therapy. It's helping me get it out there, get my emotions out there, and get this shit off my goddamn shoulders and let go of that weight that's so fucking heavy that we put on each other. Because we're all humans, guys. We have one life to live. We know that. We have one life to live. Get out of the anger mindset. Get out of the hatred mindset. Why the fuck would you ever hate on another human? Number one, we all know how hard life is. Okay, why would you try to make that harder for anybody else? Stop waking up in spite. Stop living in this, like, this is what creates disease, is when you overwhelm yourself and become this negative energy, this negative person, this angry person. You're doing it wrong. If you're waking up and you're angry and you're spiteful and you're filled with hate, man, I feel sorry for you, because you're totally doing it wrong. You're just totally fucking up this human experience. Chill the fuck out, okay? Calm down, and you need to work on yourself. You need to do personal development. Like, you have to read books, you have to listen to audios, and you have to deconstruct yourself and remove your ego and break yourself down. And like I said, visualize, like, who is that person that you want to be? What does that person look like? Okay, physically, what do they eat? What are their habits? What do they do? What do they say? You have to become that person. You have to become that greater version of you, and that's going to change your life. And so this is my shit completely in out in the open. Like my life is not glamorous. I'm not here to brag or tell you that I have all the things and that my life is great and I've had all this success and all these accomplishments. Like, yeah, I have previously, but my life is fucked, dude. I hate it. I hate it, but in a good way. I'm motivated by it. I'm pissed off at my life. I'm pissed off at my situation, and I'm fucking doing something about it. Okay. And I'm working through the pain. And I know that in my future, things will continue to get better. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. All you have to do is tap in into that universal energy, that voice in your head, harness that, live in congruence with your conscience. You will live a better life. You will live a happier life and you will be the man or be the woman that you need to be. Thank you.